Hi, I wanted to take some time today to talk about our company mission statement and values and what that means for you. Okay, so I don't know whether this is new employees that are going to be watching this or potential owners or current owners, tenants, potential tenants, but I wanted to take a moment to fulfill one of our values, which is education, and educate you all a little bit about what our company stands for and what that means. So our mission is to deliver peace of mind, and that's something that I came up with because I was trying to figure out what is it that people want most when they interact with our company. And number two, I couldn't remember anything longer than that. So it had to be simple for me, and it had to be simple, something simple that we could focus on, so that hopefully we could actually deliver it by continual focus on this. So delivering peace of mind. I wanted a certain end effect as we interact with people, whether those people be owners, tenants, ourselves, the employees here, vendors that we work with. When they go to bed at night, at least if they've just interacted with us, hopefully they sleep a little better, okay, a little more peacefully. We've delivered peace of mind. Now, obviously, peace of mind is a little more complex than just your interactions with your property manager at whatever level you're interacting with them on, but that's the idea. See, I believe that if we can deliver peace of mind, it's a kind of win-win solution, because it's something that if we give it to you, we can get it back, and that's a lifestyle choice, okay? That's what we want. It creates a positive feedback loop where, you know, I give it to you and you give it to me, you know? And together we can do more working in that realm with that idea and that mindset than the potential very much opposite type of interactions that often pervade this industry. So that was the idea of that mission. So in really thinking about like how do we do that, I wanted to focus really on the foundation of that and not be too complicated, because again, I can't, I can only grasp a couple things at a time. And so I came up with 3 values that I feel are kind of foundational. And the acrostic T, T-E-E, I'll show a picture on the video here, but essentially I created this idea of a golf ball on top of a T. And the T stands for transparency, the E for empathy, and the second E for education. So I believe that those 3 things will actually be foundational if employed in the right way. Those 3 things alone can bring us well into being, delivering the peace of mind that we intend on, okay? Along with systems that support both the mission and the values that we seek to accomplish the mission with. So, and I visualize a golf ball as our mission, delivering peace of mind, with the T that the golf ball sits on as you're getting ready to drive it, T-E-E. And then I envision the golf club, which you can see behind the golf ball and the T, and I think of that as the systems that we use to deliver this, okay? So transparency means that you tell the truth even if the truth is bad news and no one wants to hear it, and you know people will be upset by it. You tell the truth because even though it might be painful to tell the truth right now, what it means is that we can get on to providing a solution once we've acknowledged and been completely transparent in what the issues are. We don't have to avoid or dodge or hide, because that's all negative energy that, instead of being a positive cycle of change, becomes a negative cycle. Something that we're all thinking about. Well, what's wrong? What aren't they telling me? What do I need to hide? You know, what don't they know? What do they know? All these little things that just simply distract from providing the excellent service that you desire to do, and creating the positive, trust-filled interactions that we want at every single level, from employee interactions together, to vendors, to owners, to tenants. So, the idea of transparency is that we admit the mistakes that we make. There's no room for ego in a high-performance team, okay? And usually when we think about team, we think of only the team members, the employees here. But I think that we would like to consider that we're all working together. If we can agree on the purpose that everybody's trying to provide each other peace of mind. We can bring people together, and so owners aren't just trying to operate this property for the cheapest possible. Tenants aren't just trying to get something out, to get whatever they want out of the transaction, but everyone's trying to come together. And when you do that, at first, sometimes it seemed a little more expensive one way or the other, or I didn't, you're working together for a common purpose. Things start to happen, though, that are synergistic, like maybe the tenant takes care of the property a little bit better. For the owner. So the owner saved money that way by maybe spending a little extra, being willing to see the tenant's concern. These things kind of work in a positive circle. So sometimes the most presenting issue is not not the issue that you thought it was. If you can look at it systematically, oftentimes what you do will be different. And the vision and values are what organizes the system that allows us to get the results that we get. That's why it's so important to talk about it and think about it. So ultimately, the effect of high transparency and applying that is that the trust in the relationship is much higher. And that gives us the framework for working together. The second value is empathy. Empathy is when you have a sense of what others are feeling. And many people don't even know how to experience empathy. For whatever reason. A lot of times it's just, how you grew up, you model certain things from your parents. And also, to the degree that you've had a lot of trauma in your life, very often trauma will create the inability to have any kind of feeling, let alone an empathetic feeling for someone else. Because you start to feel like feelings are painful in general, positive or negative, so you don't feel anymore, disconnect. So a lot of people do that, but we seek to insert empathy into the interactions, okay? A lot of people, I think you've heard it said, people don't care what you know until they know that you care. And so empathy is one more thing that increases the trust in the process of what we're doing here. And trust is so vital. It makes everything better. So I actually read a book called The Upside of Irrationality by a behavioral economist called Daniel Ariely. And one of the interesting experiments he did was he actually would intentionally irritate people. And that would be like the opposite of empathy. And these were like ordinary people that weren't really bad. Like you wouldn't consider them to be like dishonest, okay? But the same person that was not irritated would not take advantage of a situation, whereas the person that was irritated would take advantage of the situation. They create these situations where they allowed someone to take advantage of them, and then they would test either intentionally being rude to the person beforehand or not. And what they found was, 70 to 80% of people wouldn't take advantage of a difficult situation if they were feeling respected and there was a trusting relationship and an empathetic relationship. I thought, and I don't quote me on this, don't go read the book and then tell me I'm wrong, but it was basically like 90% of people, or a really high percentage of people, it would totally flip, would take advantage of a situation when they felt like that person was a jackass, or they didn't like that person, or they weren't cared for, which is what empathy is. People sense that you have taken the time to step into their experience for a minute, And so what I'm trying to get at is that especially for landlords, empathy is important. It's important that we show empathy to your tenants because it's going to make a big difference in how they treat your property, you know, and how they treat the whole situation, whatever that might be. Because if they're feeling taken advantage of, or they're feeling someone was rude to them or doesn't care about their needs, they're going to basically allow those feelings to exact revenge. Okay, and revenge, according to this study that I'm referencing, had nothing to do with, like going out and killing somebody or going out and like dramatically hurting somebody. It's just a lot of times it affected the natural range of behavior that someone could have quite dramatically. So it might not have been rageful, but it still was a kind of a vengeful behavior that these people exhibited. And that was completely normal for ordinary people that we would consider totally ordinary. It was within the social range of acceptability, but still it made a dramatic difference to the person to the person receiving the vengeful behavior. So for us, we realize that to mitigate risk, relationships really mitigate risk in a lot of ways. And having that empathetic relationship and caring. Now, a lot of times there's this idea, people feel like if I'm empathetic, then I'm going to give someone whatever they want, even if they're being unreasonable. And there's this idea, this fear of empathy. Like you feel like you have to be mean to someone, even if you disagree with them, or you feel like they are unreasonable. And this is often the case. A tenant is unreasonably asking something, and one of the rules that I've kind of created is that we always seek to find a solution even if it isn't us delivering it. So today, a tenant was asking us to come and plow their driveway. Okay? And it's been crazy. There's, a foot of snow out there, And it is a duplex. We don't offer any plowing services for properties under 5 units. And so I had a choice. I could have just said, you know what? Screw you. We're not doing it. And we aren't doing it. But I didn't. But what I did as I interacted with this person was that number one, I identified with their concern, and I said, I'm sorry to see the situation you're in right now. And then I provided several potential solutions. Hey, can you work with the person, that you live with to maybe alternate, shovel the driveway? Here's some other ideas to solve your main need of needing the driveway. Your valid need of needing the driveway clear, I even sent him some tips, driveway shoveling. I don't know, he might have thought that was stupid, but I was trying, I was trying to make him feel served. And he came back and said, I would be willing to pay for it. Could you provide the service and I pay for it? And basically what we did is just do some research and give him some vendors that he could contact directly so that we weren't inserting ourselves into something or complicating them. And we didn't have to do any of that. I could have just said no, and I suspect that if I would have done that, he might have dug in, started looking at city regulations, trying to find his angle, how can I get these guys to do this? Those jackasses, I live in a multifamily building and I expect my driveway to be shoveled, There's 2 ways this could have gone, and I've seen it go the other way too many times because people weren't thoughtful enough to make a thoughtful response. And it's not that hard, but it makes a huge difference. And that's why I say empathy is such a big part of delivering what we want to deliver. And the third part is education. The third value is education. We have transparency, empathy, and education. Those 3 values, I believe, help us deliver that peace of mind that we're seeking to deliver. And what education does is it's kind of a long-term effector it usually doesn't get immediate results. But over time, education improves all of us. It improves the quality of our relationships, improves who we are as people. It changes our character. It changes our skill level. It changes the interactions because you change your skills and your character. Suddenly you have new options for communicating, for doing work. You get more work done faster. That has a whole waterfall effect in everything that you do. People are more satisfied and they feel like you are dependable, and suddenly they feel a little more peace of mind. Those things all happen with education. And so it's an upfront expense oftentimes. You have to spend time, sometimes money, in purchasing resources, time talking with people. You have to do that work. But it's a worthwhile investment because it's an investment in people, okay? And education is universal. So it's not just like I as a business owner am trying to educate my employees. This is a universal value. So the employees should be educators as well. And I am here in front of this camera to educate, okay? I am going to make a consistent effort to try to get the people working with me to do the same, because it trains them to educate, it develops their communication skills, and it provides a necessary product because they have specific information that I don't even know because they're doing stuff. I don't do the whole business. I have people doing different things. They can provide that knowledge to tenants and owners. And so we're educating tenants and owners, I just mentioned this whole thing working with the guy wanting us to shovel his driveway. Well, I was trying to educate him, I wanted to, education happens at a lot of different levels. Sometimes it's just educating that, hey, you can trust me, because I'm acting trustworthily, but also it can be more direct. Like I sent him an article, some information on snow plowing, on snow shoveling. I guess it might seem kind of stupid, but again, that was my intention, so I did it. Manuals and processes are an education because we're learning an important system, and so by creating a manual, then anybody can go do it, and we can easily have everyone in the organization know something or have ready access to knowledge, which then allows us to deliver a consistent product, which is part of the peace of mind. Knowing, something is consistent, then it's going to work out. And we do offer incentives. I'm still developing those exactly what they are, but basically, for reading books and things like that. And important, it's not always maybe direct, like on property management, but basic business-related self-help things that help people grow and have a growing mindset and interact, in the business, and even interact personally in such ways that they get more energies to interact in the business. And that's a part of the positive cycle, is making sure that people understand the importance of drawing energy from their personal life, which then gives them energy to be more successful in their business life, which then gives them hopefully energy to be more successful in their personal life because they have more money. So anyways, there's those little cycles everywhere, and education is part of the energizing cycle. It sharpens and makes things work smoother and better. So the last segment, part of this, is the systems. Because if the systems in the business make things so chaotic that the value of delivering peace of mind is more difficult to achieve, and those values of transparency, empathy, and education are not supported, those systems can undermine it. So how do you set properties up? How do you start and end certain relationships? How do you do work orders? All these things have long sets of steps that oftentimes, if they aren't systematized, are just kind of left to random chance. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. That's not conducive to a lot of what we're trying to achieve here. And of course, we're constantly in a state of improvement, and nothing's perfect, but we are very clear about what we want to achieve. And we're going to continue to improve until we really feel like, wow, at least in this area, we've achieved, we're seeing this in the people that we work with, all the way through the whole line of the vendors, owners, tenants, employees. So anyways, thanks for listening to my ramblings. I hope that you were educated, hope that you felt some empathy from me, hope that you felt that I was being transparent enough, and have a great day.